Hi everybody, it's Fiona Hooper here again, and I'm back with another weekly instalment of my live show, The Poetry of Painting. So just before we get into the poetry, I'd just like to remind you about our forthcoming Blooms online art exhibition, which is taking place on Friday 18th and Saturday the 19th of June. There'll be 10 of us from all around the globe, and as well as seeing our artwork, you'll be able to chat with us in an informal and relaxed atmosphere, ask questions, and maybe even buy something if you find that special piece, but there's no pressure on to buy, to be buying anything. Anyway, the tickets, which are free, can be booked via the events page of my website, which is www.fionahooper.com. Now it's back to poetry and painting. And I'm really pleased to be able to welcome back for this week's show, the lovely poet, Ritesh Nigam. Let me just bring you in, Ritesh. Hello, how are you?
Good evening, Fiona. I'm very good. How are you doing?
Good, I'm good, thank you. And have you been managing to write much poetry during lockdown?
Oh, yeah. I think it's those days when you get inspiration, when you go out and about and then come back and think about it and the words comes out. I think it's partly responsible for the positive environment, isn't it, with the vaccines and everything, where people are being optimistic, lockdown easing down. So everything is kind of falling in place. And I think very optimistic about the future. And those feelings are probably going into the words now.
Good, that's excellent. Yeah. So today we're focusing on my painting, Gently Flows the River, about which we've each written a poem. And it is on the board behind me here, but I'm going to put it on the screen because it's a fairly small painting and it just makes it easier for everybody to see. So in my normal polite way, Ritesh, would you like to go first and read your poem? Because I'm absolutely looking forward to hearing how you've interpreted my painting.
Yeah, well, your paintings have so much to say about it. And I think especially when you look through the, poetic glasses, you can, could be many versions. There could be, I was talking to my wife and we were just looking at the clear sky and we were thinking about what kind of weather that day was, and we could just talk about not even the water or the trees, but just about the weather, how that, how that poor painter was thinking. So I took a little bit different turn. It was, I think I wrote it in around May when we had a discussion, and it was my mom's birthday. So I interpreted this whole thing, the river, the earth around the river, as mother. And so here it is. I have kept the name of the poem same as a painting, just to avoid the confusion.
Lovely, lovely.
So here it is. Gently flows the river. Softest lifeblood of the trees and earth that nurtures the riverbank like a mother to all beasts who drink here where the water flows in peace. Peace is her reward for her efforts of this bold and silent river. River, feed your ecosystem well. Well is he who bathes here in solitude. Solitude beneath green trees and on green grass that tickles the feet so gently as a seductive touch of mother carrying life, the essence of life. Life itself owes so much to this place yourself on the quiet, patient shore up your inner peace here. Here lies the sacred vein of the infinite land.
Wow, that's lovely. That's just so expressive and, full of emotion and, Mother Earth, and I just love the way that you've got that all in there. It's really brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we look at anything which is life-giving, the water itself is life-giving, the earth itself is life-giving. And when you say life-giving, if there is only one thing who gives life to us, Mother. That's
Mm.
and when you connect both of them, and how they nurture, how the softness of the river, the gentle way of how your mom deals with you, um, I just love is the whole process of talking about your painting, but probably talking about my mother.
Yeah. Yeah. By
Yeah.
the way, Chris says, yet another lovely painting. Thank you very much, Chris. That's lovely. Thank you. And I love the bit where you said about bathing in the river as well, and, just all of these different ideas, visual ideas coming into my head as you were going through your poem. Just think that's really lovely. Just, yeah, very nice. Will you send it to me later so that I can put it out
Yeah.
on my social media in due course? That'd be lovely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So, well, mine's a bit more about the seasons, actually.
Okay.
Sort of to do with the weather as well. And so anyway, here's my one. So, gently flows the river, snowbound in winter's freeze, with a surface of solid ice. The river awakens come spring, fed by meltwater from above. From frozen stillness and hibernation, a trickle becomes a torrent, with crystal clear, ice-cold water rushing from the crags on high. The seasons change and summer comes. The rushing water calms and slows, burbling and babbling over the pebbles, playfully tumbling over hidden rocks. Curving through the verdant land as autumn steals into the valley, the river moves silently now, diminished to a gentle flow. Stubby trees, stunted by the altitude, are mirrored in the now smooth water, its glassy surface undisturbed, waiting for the cycle to start anew. So there we've been through all 4 seasons in one poem.
Yeah. And I think and I didn't know about your poem. And as I said, that me and my wife were talking about the weather,
Yeah.
and you can actually write a poem about weather. And this is exactly what you did, which is, and I love the word, the alliteration you use, trickle like a torrent, trickle turning into a torrent.
Yeah.
And the curving. So I think when you are writing, you have those painting words in your mind as well. The glossy surface, the mirror. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, that's really nice coming from you. I thought your poem was just fantastic. So,
And
yeah.
where is this painting based, if you can?
It's in the Rockies in America.
Okay.
North America. And I didn't actually paint this one on site because we were vacationing. And so I did sketches and photographs, and it's just a bit of artistic license as well, because I've tried to include in there my memories of the place and how it felt to be there, just sort of sitting there and looking at the landscape, feeling the breeze, the warmth of the sun, the smells, which difficult to get into a painting. But it's just that the whole rounded experience, in the atmosphere that I'm trying to convey for people in my painting. So it's quite a small painting, this one. It's only 15 centimeters square, and then it's got a frame on it at the moment, obviously, which makes it a bit bigger. And I love the way as well that it's got some really gorgeous textures in the paint, because I painted it with a knife rather than brushes, which is something that I really like to do. So it's just a sort of little juicy little gem of a painting, this one. So yeah, and it takes me back to that place, I can imagine being there, as I say, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the feeling of being there, which hopefully it can do for other people, even if they've not been there. Hopefully they can get that sort of sense of a place from it and sort of lose themselves in it for a little while to chill out from daily life.
That's definitely, I can feel that kind of thing, even though I have not been there. Um, wow.
Yeah. So I noticed your poem, Ritesh, again, is link poetry, where you're using the last word of each line to start the next line. And so is that something that you're still really keen on, or have you been exploring different formats as well, or is that just your most favorite type of poetry?
I think at the moment it is my favorite type of poetry, probably because I can do it.
Mm.
And
And
no,
very
no, I think it's a very exciting format when you're talking about the linking the last word to the next word, and um, it gives me also kind of a structure. Sometimes
well.
when you are writing, you can go all the way, to the universe, to the edge of the universe, and come back.
Yeah.
And the link poetry is kind of giving me a structure and something to also talk about, that I do link poetry.
Mm.
And I think that uh, everyone is in these days are looking for a niche. You do this, and I
Mm.
think somehow the link poetry has come to me, and I'm taking it forward.
Excellent. Well, we've got another comment from Mac. Hi, Mac. Lovely to have you watching us. Thank you. And Mac says, lovely poems and paintings. Love to hear a poem of the senses you can't see in a painting.
Mm.
Yes, yeah. I think the poems go so well with the painting, and certainly when the painting eventually sells, I'll be including my poem with it, and hopefully, well, still planning it, my project of a book of my paintings with my poems and my guest, including yourself, Ritesh, guest poems in there as well. So hopefully that's something that everyone will be looking forward to when it comes out. But just
Well,
got a
that will be an exciting project, I'm sure.
yeah,
I
just got
was
a
in fact,
poems to write.
yeah, when I was searching about the words and art of writing poetry and explaining them, I think we were talking about, and the word came up with ekphrasis,
Mm,
so so
yeah, yeah, writing poetry about paintings. Yeah, yeah, I never knew that word until I started these shows. So interesting. Yeah,
interesting. It is.
yeah. So what else have you been doing with poetry, or investigating poetry and things recently?
Yeah, so when I was talking about ekphrasis and I was looking at the examples of ekphrasis, and
Mm.
I realized that all the Indian scriptures are actually written in poetic format. And
Okay.
if you go back to the caves, either even the African caves or Indian caves, the Mayan civilization, they have used the paintings to tell about how they lived.
Mm.
And then when you go towards India, you find that all the scriptures have been written in poetic format. So both painting and poetry, has such a strong place in telling how they have lived their life, how to understand the human civilization.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you know about the Gita, the Mahabharata, which is again, uh, you know, 18 chapters, and every chapter all the written text is in a poetic format,
Wow.
and they used to remember it. So it is a Sanskrit word called Manu Smriti. Man means mind, and Smriti means memory. So memory of your mind, and they will remember all the whole of the story in a poetic format and
Right.
pass it on to the next generation.
So they actually memorize those poems as
Yes,
well as having them written down.
Exactly. And in one of the poem, it's an amazing, I will just, probably you won't understand the words, where it says that Yug Sahasra Jojan Per Bhanu, which actually means the distance of the sun from the earth.
Oh,
In 4 or 5 verse, which says that the sun is at this much distance from the earth. And we used to think that is more like, talking about something, but later on when they discovered what it actually means, it means that they have calculated the distance and passed on that information in poetic format.
gosh, wow. So there's lots of hidden information and details about life in, times gone by, and what they knew, and how they lived.
Exactly, exactly. And I think when you are looking at your paintings over the period of time with the climate change,
Mm,
one day you might go there and you say, "Oh, my paintings is probably different than what it is now." I hope it is not the case with so much consciousness coming, but definitely this is an imprint of that time of history, which you
mm.
have told through those painting, and people can actually compare how the things have changed for better, hopefully. Um, that's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah,
Well, we all hope so for that, don't we? With less plastic, hopefully, and people recycling, and just lower carbon emissions and things like that as well. So,
yeah,
if our poetry and our paintings can maybe help with that, to celebrate the beauty of the natural world, and get people involved, get them on board with trying to preserve it and look after it, for future generations. It's a very sad state of the world at the moment, I think, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of coordinated effort from the population of the whole world to try and pull it back from the brink of disaster. I mean, it sounds
yeah.
very dramatic, but I think that's the way it is.
I think you got to say in as many tough words, difficult words, but because that is a situation now, you can't whitewash it or make it sugary. It is as simple as that. It's bitter.
It is, and it may not be quite the death of the planet in our lifetimes, but with children and then grandchildren, how different is it going to be for them, and what are they going to miss out on, and how tough it, more tough is life going to be for them because of the climate change, with
Yeah,
the extreme weather that we get now, and the seasons seem to be changing as well. So, so maybe if painting and poetry can play even a small part in trying to, awaken people to
yeah.
this, and get them on board, it would be really good. So,
Def-
a friend of mine who's in the Blooms group, in fact, for the exhibition, she's in Australia, and she paints wildlife, mainly of Australian animals.
mhm.
She's done a few paintings now where she's actually auctioned the painting for, say, like for that particular animal,
Yeah,
charity that's
charity.
trying to help preserve the species. So, art can have a role to play, and I should imagine poetry as well. That there must be people who are writing, poetry about climate change and things that are, being published, and hopefully helping people to be motivated to try
Yeah,
and do something.
I do have a poem, a collection of poem books talking about the earth and how
Yeah,
it's changing. So, and probably next time I can share with you.
yeah.
And that's an amazing, small poems, but they can actually take you to that place and
Mm,
understand, the receding glaciers and things like that.
yeah, yeah. Is the book available for people to buy, Ritesh?
It's not my book. I got, yes, it's a collection of poems, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. But anything like that, if it's going to help, yes. I mean, next time you're on, tell people what it's called, and hopefully it might have some impact. So,
Definitely.
but That's another idea. Maybe with the book idea, maybe a certain percentage of proceeds could go to, or any profits, hopefully there might be some profits, could go to
There will be, definitely.
an organization that is trying to do that, to trying to help, stop the disaster that's impending,
Yeah.
I like that idea. Thank you. That's
Welcome.
a very good idea for that. So try and put that into practice. So have you got any plans for any poetry events or anything coming up, or any particular series of poems or anything that you've got in mind?
I do. I do attend a poets cafe every month. We do it. It's in Berkshire, and we do it online. So it's an amazing collection of poets around the community, and we all gather and recite our poems. It's and So if you search for a poet cafe, you can probably find it.
Okay,
So
thanks.
that's
You've
my.
got it.
And I think I haven't done. I was, in fact, I was going to ask permission that probably I can read one of the poem I have written and share your poetry and share your painting with the group.
Yeah,
So
that'd be lovely. Yes, yeah, I'd be very happy for you to do that.
yeah,
Thank
I'll
you.
send you the invite also if you can come to it. And I think it's we also have an open mic on it. It's organized by a very famous poet, Claire Dyer, and so I can send you the link, and you probably can come and have a look at the variety of poets coming and sharing their poems.
That'd be very interesting. Thank you. Yes, yeah. But yeah, I'd like to I did with your last poem as well. I put that onto my Facebook page with my painting for that one. So if anyone wants to look back through, you can find Ritesh's poem for my Still Waters Run Deep, I believe it was, Ritesh.
Yeah.
So you'll find that on my page as well, if you'd like to take a look and read Ritesh's lovely poem about that painting as well. So you've just got away with, I think, is it water that attracts you so much, Ritesh? I think you would need to do a poem about another painting with water in it, I think.
Yeah, probably. I'm a water person, so probably my zodiac sign is also have some water in it. So yeah, and I think when we had a discussion which painting, and I said, this painting spoke to me, and I think it's also the title. When I love those words, the gentle, still water runs deep. Those kind of the title itself talks about the painting. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Chris has said we've got some great ideas flowing today. Like word flowing there, Chris. Well done, keeping in line with the painting there. So yeah. So yes, I'm especially liking the idea about the book and percentage going to try and stop climate change somehow. I don't know quite how yet. I have to look into that, but I like that idea very much.
Yeah, there are many organizations doing, and with the Queen coming in and saying that plant a tree as the Jubilee tree, that itself is going to be a mass movement next year about, and with the pandemic, people have understood how the pollution, the air, the oxygen is important for us.
Yes, because during
we got trees, they make free oxygen. Come on.
Yeah.
I think probably, the younger generation, they will ask us and our older generation that, why didn't you just think of, that when you're cutting that tree, you're cutting a source of oxygen.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's such a simple thing to do, just to, I think we're losing a lot of trees and things here with building works and stuff around the country, just to, we need to try and make sure that we replace what we're losing there. So, Max saying, me too, sounds marvelous, all your ideas. I hope some of them at least can be realized. Definitely. Yeah, working towards it. So it's really exciting, I think, and it's just so nice to be having a collaboration with other poets like yourself, and be able to promote other people as well as oneself, which is lovely. You know, I just think that's such a nice thing to do. So anything else you need to tell us at the moment, Ritesh? So
No, at the moment. I look forward for your next sessions, and working on another of your painting. Maybe this time not mother. My sister might say, "Come on, when are you going to talk about me?" And which reminds me that my wife already asked me, "Why don't you write a poem about my painting?" She has done some of the paintings,
yeah,
and I said, "Okay, now Fiona is bringing me into that spot where I have to start writing poetry for my people around me."
absolutely. Yeah, well done. Good for you. So well, it's been absolutely great to have you on the show again, Ritesh. Really enjoyed it chatting with you and hearing your beautiful poem. And I do hope that you're going to come back again very soon. Join me for another session on poetry painting.
I'm honored, and it was a pleasure talking to you, Fiona.
Lovely. Well, pleasure's on my side as well. So now next week, I'm actually going to be taking a break, folks, as unfortunately I've got another event which is going to clash with my show here. But I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another fabulous poet coming to join me for more talk about poetry and painting. So I hope you'll be able to join me again for that. Same time, same place. Don't forget you can sign up to my VIP mailing list to see new paintings, get invitations to events. The Blooms event will be on my next mailing list as well. More details on that on my newsletter. And I'll put the link in the comments for that as well. So stay safe. Have a good 2 weeks and see you a week on Wednesday for another Poetry of Painting session. Bye for now. Bye from me. Bye from Ritesh.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.